So how about that reversal we see right on the day retrograde, Mercury turns retrograde, the station. I wish more people were on yesterday. I was trying to tell them it was a good idea to get out there, but we had such a small crew yesterday. It was like the smallest crew we've had in a really long time. It's weird. I was expecting either the same low or a lower low, but I still advise to get out because it's Mercury retrograde and things don't go as you expect, and there you go. It was neither of those. I know enough about Mercury retrograde to know how to handle it even when I'm wrong, you know? So hopefully there's people that saw what I was saying and got out of their short positions. Yesterday would have been a really juicy day if they followed along. Still having issues with the charts and Mercury retrograde, obviously. It's not really anything I can close either, just like to speed it up. Alright, since my chart refuses to move, yeah, in the midst of this like, we're kind of like failing to break through resistance here. In the midst of that, there's a trade opportunity. It's probably like a little, like maybe 10-15 minutes ago, but still not far off on price. To open up, it looks like a short position. But I wouldn't do it because it's retrograde. Really, what you should do, like the trade that I make when I plan to have a trade over retrograde, is as follows. So I would buy calls at a strike price below like 378, I'd probably buy 380 calls, and then I'd buy some really cheap out of the money calls, like puts. Two for every one call that I buy 2 cheap out of the money puts that have a strike price of like 375. So I'd have 380 calls and 375 puts. One 380 call, 2 375 puts, and what I'm doing is I'm banking on this reverse trend. Like, we have this pattern through retrograde when the planet is going forward through this period of the sky. Now it's going through the same area of the sky for the second time, but it's going backwards through it. You get like a reverse, like an inverted pattern of this in most cases. Sometimes the trend is so strong that it's skewed. Like, there's cases where we just continue to go down. Most of the time there's reversals, but there's also just only a few times where we were bullish within retrograde. So it's kind of a tricky situation, being that we were, like, I think we're having a reversal. But with that said, you want to bank on, if we do continue to go down lower, we're going to go down deep. So that's what the out of the money puts are for. Really, what I'm expecting is for us to go up. And when we get to roughly this, when we get to this vertical line in time, which is the 18th of January, that's when I would close out of the calls. I would also buy puts at the time that I close out of the calls. Probably, if you bought the puts here with an expiration out like 2 months from now, you could double down on those puts at a cheaper price if you wanted to, but I think probably the better bet to do is just close the calls here, open up puts here, and then follow the expectation of this pattern one more time through these vertical lines. right? So do nothing as far as trading here, but set yourself up for the trade the day after retrograde happens. And that's the smartest play for retrograde based on all of the retrogrades that I've seen. It's you got to have money to get expirations out that far. You got to have a chunk of change to do it, but it's really a pretty substantial opportunity. You don't want to do out of the money for the most part. Like, the out of the money puts are really just there if I'm like dead ass wrong, we won't like get our shirt ripped off. But really, you want to steer clear of out of the money puts or out of the money options for the most part during retrograde, because in the period of retrograde, usually what will happen is the price range won't move too much. So like that's why I'm here. I'm expecting like a price range like to rise around here, probably not like all the way back up to here per se, but up around here. We have a strong downtrend, which will skew things. And then also there's like you're like bound within a range at retrograde. Like you could buy like a vertical put spread probably with the short leg here, and even if we went up, you'd still have those be in the money by the end of their expiration. I don't say do that, that's a dumb maneuver, but what I'm saying is that usually that's what happens, is that there's not enough movement in the middle of retrograde for out of the money puts to really, or out of the money options to really make money. So, we're talking about how to set ourselves up for retrograde. I advise not to trade during retrograde. The best thing to do, just waiting on this freaking chart. Okay, here. The best thing to do in the case of retrograde is not to trade between these time periods, this 29th through the 18th, but to set yourself up for the inverse pattern of this. What transpired here from the 13th to the 29th, Mercury retrograde was moving through this area of the sky in the normal direction that it moves through the sky, but it was gradually slowing down and getting slower and slower and slower and slower and slower as it came to the date of today. And that's when it stations retrograde in the sky, so it basically looks like it stalls completely in the sky. And you can see what happens is the volatility, there's a reversal when we enter that period of time in the sky, and then the volatility becomes more erratic with more price swinging in narrower amounts of time as we come to the station. There's usually a pivot point at the station, and then you have an inverse of this pattern, because now what's happening is we're going through the same area of the sky the second time out of 3 times during retrograde. We're going through the same area of the sky, but now we're going through it backwards. So we went through it forwards, now we're going through it backwards, and you get like an inverted pattern of what happened when it was going forward. It'll be skewed in a lot of cases because if the trend is strong enough, like you're not going to see us come all the way back up to where we started. You'll see like a wiggle, and then a move to the upside based on this, right? My sense is that we'll probably end on the price on the 18th, somewhere around here. I'll do it in ellipses. It's better than these sloppy circles. My sense is that on the 18th will likely be somewhere around this price level. somewhere around there, I think. Let's do that. Somewhere around there. We're probably towards the lower end of that. And that's because we're in such a steep downtrend. But we'll get like a lot of price swinging, and it'll start to like gradually become less of price swings and bigger moves. And we'll come up to like roughly this price level, and then there'll be a reversal on this day with like probably like a big move like we saw here. And then we'll have a similar pattern form where we have these sharp drops and then price swinging as we enter into the end of retrograde. And that's pretty much what happens every 3 retrogrades. That's basically what happens. Every 3 retrogrades a year since 2007, I'd say 95% of the time, you get this pattern, inverted pattern, second instance of the pattern. Three phases of Mercury retrograde. So what you want to do is you want to set yourself up with calls that expire out past the 18th. Say, to make it safe, let's say like towards the end of the month of, or mid part of the month of January. Let's say the end of the month of January, right? Calls that expire at the end of the month of January, and you really want to make some money, have them be at the money calls right now, at the money calls, and then buy some cheap out of the money puts that expire out like 2 months in advance. So they expire out past, like, let's say 2 weeks past February 7th. And why you want to get them out that far is because you'll probably need to double down on them. Right now they're just a safety net, right? But if things go according to plan, we'll make a bunch of money on the calls, and then those out of the money puts will be like severely like they'll have like nothing, they'll be like worthless. You can triple down on them for like nothing at that time. Buy a put when you sell the calls here. Have that put expire out past the date of the 7th as well. And so now you've got these worthless puts and a put that you bought at the money. When you get out to this date, those worthless puts that you doubled down on, you should make some of that loss back and have made a gain on the put that you bought at the money. And that's like, dude, that's like, it's like almost foolproof. It sounds complicated, but it's not. Like, if you want me to go through it again, I'll go through it again. That's the best way to handle Mercury retrograde. It's the most reliable signature that I've found. Like, people are like, oh, the moon is the most reliable indicator. Yeah, it is, except during Mercury retrograde. Mercury retrograde is way more reliable than the moon, and the moon doesn't do what you expect it to do during Mercury retrograde. A lot of people that trade by the moon cycles get their faces ripped off during retrograde, and if they don't understand why that retrograde is the reason, then they probably don't even realize why. They're just like, oh, it's a fluke. We got quite a few things coming out, videos coming out, guys. Let me see what we got on the schedule here. Man, I don't get it. My 2 buddies stopped like giving me stats on October 7th, and I like put in a ticket still today. It still shows me like analytical stats up until October 7th. It's so annoying. I forgot that I was live. Sorry guys, I do that sometimes. All right, so we've got later today we have Advisor Shares Pure U.S. Cannabis ETF coming out, the 1 year for that. We've got Virgin Galactic's January coming out tomorrow. We've got Cadena January public version coming out on the 31st. We've got Ocean Protocol's public version coming out on the 1st. We've got quite a few other things coming out, my friends. I think I probably am going to get to Tesla. I hope. I got a lot of requests for Tesla, but still nobody that's paid for it. So it's like it's on the list. But then I just finished all the orders, and then I got more orders last night. I got to do those orders before I get to Tesla. Unless somebody orders Tesla, and then it's like, you know, it skips a line of requests for sure. Anything that you guys would like me to look at? Huh. That's interesting. All right, guys. So if you're just hopping on, I was just discussing how it's not really advised to be trading during retrograde because there's all sorts of silly errors that arise. It's just like, man, it gets so frustrating. You lose your pattern day trading ability, all sorts of stuff like that. I once lost like 20K because the power went out, and I had like the split second to catch like the opportunity that I was waiting for, and it happened to be like right when the power went out. I could tell you so many stories like that happened during retrograde. In any case, what we're looking for, it's based on what I've seen over the last, since 2007, I've been watching retrograde in relation to the S&P 500, how it impacts the S&P 500. That's 3 to 4 a year, mostly 3 a year, but sometimes 4 a year. And it's a pretty foolproof plan for the most part. Like 95% of the time, this will work. All right, so you watch what happens between, this is when the shadow period on the, what was that, the 13th, the shadow period of retrograde happens. The shadow period is when retrograde enters the area of the sky that it's going to pass through 3 times during its, or when Mercury passes through the area of its sky that it's going to pass through 3 times during its retrograde cycle. It's passing through it, through the area of the sky for the first time, entering it on the 13th, and slowing down and slowing down and slowing down gradually as it enters, as it moves towards the 29th. Which is today. On the 29th, it becomes station retrograde. It like stands still in the sky. When you're looking at it from Earth, it looks like it's not moving, in other words. And then it starts to speed up. But now it's going backwards through the area of sky it just went through. It's like retracing its steps through the sky, speeding up until it's about midway through these 2 dates. It's going about the same speed as normal, just in reverse at this point. Things that have been stalled out seem to be moving a little bit during the central part of retrograde, but then they start to slow down again because retrograde slows down and slows down and slows down and slows down and slows down, and then it stalls out again, and that's called station direct. And at that point, that's the 18th, that's when it stalls out again in the sky, and then it reverses, and now it's going through the area of the sky that it went through twice already. It's going through it the second time in the right direction. This is the last time, but it's going through it in the right direction. So why is that important? Because what happens is you have Mercury rules travel, electronics, and communication. In my opinion, the stock market chart has all 3. All right, and so during the shadow phase, what happens? This like sharp drops, and then all of a sudden, like these big price swings within shorter amounts of time. as we move forward towards this date, we're going to see that pattern kind of like in inverse. So we'll get like a bunch of price swings, and then it'll become less price swings and bigger spikes north as we move towards the 18th. And then we'll get the same pattern again in the like normal, like non-inverted version, with like sharp drops and then price swings as we leave Mercury retrograde's third storm. So the best way to handle that is right now is to buy at the money calls that expire out like the end of January, and some out of the money puts. Like for every call, I buy two out of the money puts that are cheap that expire out like mid-February. Okay, those are going to depreciate. They're just there to like play as a safety net. We want the calls to appreciate. All right, the calls at the money, they're more expensive. By the time we get to the date of the 18th, that's when you sell them. You don't do anything in between, no matter what you see happen. You want to sell them on the 18th, and they should be like the strike price at the money should be somewhere around here. So if you buy at the money here, then the strike, like, you'll make quite a killing there, right? And then the puts that you bought that were out of the money will be severely depreciated. You can like triple down on those for next to nothing, as long as you buy another put that's at the money on the 18th. So triple down on the 18th, buy at the money put on the 18th. All of those expirations should be out mid-February, and you sell the calls, buy the puts, and then on February 7th you sell the puts, all of them. The depreciated puts should have made some of their appreciation back, and because you tripled down on them, you made back some of the loss, maybe hopefully all of it, but probably some of it, and then you made a serious gain on the at the money put that you purchased. That's how you play it. Oh, I got you, Philip. No worries, man. I'll take care of that for you. Go over tomorrow's daily. That strength card always throws me a little bit on when it's in that sneak preview position. I'll look at my notes real quick. Philip, thank you, by the way, for the Rule of Karma payments, my man. Much appreciated, dude. So tomorrow, probably what we're gonna have is we open higher and fall. Well, no, we probably in the pre-market we're probably opening lower, and we rally higher before we enter into the. So there's like a U shape. Okay, so we do decline and then there's a move higher. So that's very straight. So there's in the pre-market we decline, and then we have a full move from the bottom of a range to the top of a range and come to resistance there at the open. There's a trade opportunity in the midst of this decline here, right around the first half hour. Probably to sell puts, but again, I always say I'd rather not trade it. Just stick to the trade plan that I went through. For retrograde is the best way to handle retrograde. In any case, very likely, if you were to buy puts at this spike here that we have, what happened to my chart? Yeah, E-Trade, you're ridiculous. Yeah, it's insane. Look at this. And then interesting, that's my newest reverse clairvoyant anchor. It indicates to get out of a position that may be losing, like a failing position. You want to get out of that. If you have one. like you know, like into something better. But that ace of swords, there's going to be some volatility there. You could position yourself probably pretty well, or like you could do a couple of different trades in the midst of that, like that price action there. We'll hit a key resistance level, and we'll crisscross back and forth 3 times through that resistance level. That's a good opportunity to enter in a long position. Let me just double check on that. Yeah, it looks like the rally ends quite abruptly there, probably on the 30th. No, not quite, but it's like within that first week, really. There's a drop, and then we go back into, I'm looking at January, and then we go back into a rally mode. So tomorrow, so retracement, and then a rally there. Following day, where's that ace of wands? There's an ace of swords again. Ace of swords, ace of swords. See, what I'm looking for is an exit. If you were to enter into a long position here, I'm looking for an exit, and I'm not really seeing a good exit. I'd probably steer clear. So if I entered into a short position now, I would close that short position probably around like 9:45-ish, in the midst of a decline, whenever that decline takes place. But like, there'll be a sharp decline through multiple supports, and then we establish support at the bottom. Then we'll do probably like a big move higher from like 10 to 11 to meet resistance, and that move will give you opportunity to like place more than one trade if you want. So what you could do a day trade tomorrow in the midst of that decline closing. If you were to close the puts, if you purchase puts now and close those puts tomorrow morning, you could open up a call position when you close the puts, and then sell the call position when you hit that resistance level after the ace of swords. You know the exit point, because it would be like 3 crisscrosses back and forth through the same price level. But again, guys, I would not trade. Hey, Robert, how you doing, my man? Philip, you're probably like, you'd be well advised to just sit tight and wait a week and load up on your day trades again. Better to, like, if you're gonna trade during retrograde, just like less is more. Less is more. So if you're just hopping on, guys, where we were discussing, oh man, I lost that chart. Mercury retrograde makes E-Trade suck. And why did it get rid of my ellipses? So What we're likely going to see is by this price level here, based on Mercury retrograde's pattern, by this date here of the 18th of January, we'll likely see the price level of SPY somewhere within this ellipse. Oh man, so annoying. Oh my god, I can't stand retrograde. Probably towards the bottom end of this ellipse, but somewhere within this ellipse on that date. So what you want to do is buy at the money calls that expire out like the end of January, and buy some out of the money puts, probably like 375 puts that are cheap. That's kind of like as a safety net. Remember, when you're playing retrograde, you want to play volatility, wide swings. So, but you want to play cheap puts because most likely we're going higher, right? So like what you do is we go higher, and then on the 18th you sell the calls that were at the money. They'll be deep in the money on the 18th. Sell those, and then the puts that you bought that were out of the money will be deep out of the money. You can triple down on those for like next to nothing. Make sure that you buy an out at the money put before you triple down, though. That's super important. To buy at the money put is the main thing here. The tripling down is to make money back on the loss of the put, right? So it's going to be next to nothing. You triple down on it, cost average down on that, buy an at the money put here on the 18th. All expirations of the put should be out like mid-February. And then on the 7th, you sell the at the money put, which will be in the money, and you sell those out of the money puts. Hopefully you gain back some of that. They'd be at the money, or you got out of them before the expiration. Cool. I'm gonna roll at 4, guys. Any questions that you might have? Well, I was planning to roll at 4. That's in a minute. But any questions you guys have? Anything that you want me to look at? I luckily already have most of the work done for Tesla, so I'll be able to get Tesla out after I get a couple more paid orders out for people. I'm gonna get the Tesla one out for you guys, and probably not much else. I have quite a few done, like almost done, ready to go. Is there anything that you guys would want me to look at? Possibly get a January out for, if I can get to it. Or if you just want me to look at something. Hey, little guy. How you doing? How you doing? You're a good boy, you know. You're a good boy. Everybody loves you. Are you sleepy? You want to go to sleep? Yeah? Oh, you're a good boy, Hermes. Alright, go sleep on the floor. And you'll be more comfy. You don't want to go on the floor? Okay. You're a good boy, Hermes. Yeah, I think I did, I pulled a few cards for price levels for Tesla on one of the lives the other day, and I'm pretty sure we hit, $70. I don't think we go lower than $70 if my memory serves me correct. It was like 2 or 3 lives ago. But I'll take a look at it. I try to do the 10 years and the 1 years before I get into monthlies now, so whenever somebody orders a monthly, I'm doing like the 10 year and the 1 year as well for added information. It's just a lot of stuff to do. But I'll take care of that for you, Philip. So you want to switch from silver to Tesla? A couple other things, guys. So next year, the subscriptions are going to go up in price. Like all of the subscriptions. People that have subscriptions from 2022 are going to keep those prices. They're going to grandfather. I'm going to grandfather those prices. So like as long as you keep the subscriptions, they'll be at the discounted price as a thank you for helping us get this far and being loyal, like true loyal OGs. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So I try to do them in order now so that I'm well informed when I go into the monthlies. Sometimes I don't have time though. I have to do the monthly first. You got it, Philip. Anything, my man. You got it. So Philip regularly makes money with this info. I'm wondering if there's anything that you could advise people, like as far as like a tip for utilizing the information so that you make money, because you can also lose money, obviously. Uniswap. Alright, I'll add Uniswap to the list there. Alright, buddy, go down. Go sleep. So I hope everybody's seen the space readings that I've been doing, because that's a super big opportunity coming up very soon, guys. A big trade opportunity. And what's interesting is after I put out the first few predictions about it, I was looking through my emails, which I hardly ever do. Email's such a waste of time. But I was looking through my emails, and I get these emails from Motley Fool, and they were talking about SPC as one of the big moves of 2023. So there you go. Heard it here first, even before Motley Fool. Yeah, that's how it happens. People are like, oh yeah, you predict the market with 98% average accuracy. How come you're not a gazillionaire, man? Have you? These are always people that have never traded and know nothing about the stock market, obviously, but unfortunately, that's most people. Trust, trust and doubt have huge implications on a metaphysical level with our ability to manifest that which we intend to manifest. Remember, it's infinity, so like at any moment you can change the coming outcome. Like the expected outcome can be changed by transferring to a different verse of the multiverse. You can do that at any given moment based on consciousness. That's why sometimes I like have no issue answering questions, and other times I'm like, it's not the right planetary hour for that. It's because I manage my internal energy. I manage my energy, and I understand my vibration well enough to know that when my vibration is at a certain level, I'm limited by certain guiding principles like astrology and planetary influences. And at other times when my vibration is so high, like none of that matters. It's a fluctuating thing. I mean, that's the only constant really is change. Yep. Damn straight. Good advice, Philip. For those of you that aren't seeing the text, he said it's mental state of mind. Like today, I broke my rule because I panicked. Broke up late, rushed, sold my calls too early because I panicked. Even though the plan was to wait till after 10 a.m. The cards are always right. Believe in that. Everything else follows easier. It's like everything. People are so fixated on what they see as the outcome that's coming towards them in the future that they're so distracted by what they see as the expected outcome that they miss the fact that they can change that expected outcome at any moment in the moment of the present moment. The present moment is the only moment. It's the infinite moment. It's where you can change your conscious vibration. If you have an issue or a problem with something, the most like the easiest way to solve it is to raise your vibration. Just raise vibration, and like problems will dissipate. At a certain vibration, all problems dissipate. Sometimes you leave other things behind, so be careful what you wish for. I haven't looked at TIE-Fi token in a while, although I'm pretty sure I did do some preliminary work on that, so I might be able to get that one out. Let me see. What did I do on that? Looks like I got the spread recorded for the 2023. I just haven't really done the markup, but let's see what it looks like. Oops. Oh, XRP's coming out too, as well as Bitcoin. January's anyways. So there's some real opportunity in TIE-Fi token in 2023 based on the theme card. I really need to do the markup before I could give you like crystal clear, concise info, but based on the theme card, there's a decline that offers an opportunity to open up a long position, and there's a notable reversal that would stand out on a multi-year chart. Well, that's pretty bullish to see. I mean, it means in the long run that's pretty bullish to see the Princess of Cups, because it means on the short term, as i.e. the 2023 reading, there's going to be a notable decline, but that decline does offer opportunity to open up a long position, meaning that in the future we'll be pretty bullish. You're welcome, my man. Thank you for your support, dude. Philip's been following us since like the get-go. The original OG, I call him. All right, guys, I'm gonna roll. I'm gonna get to work on these last-minute orders so I can get them out for January. Thank you for watching, and make sure, guys, it's super important. Understand you must follow the rule of karma, because otherwise you're going to be like, yo, how come, like, all of a sudden I put money down and I lost? Like, everything's going right, and then I put money down and I lost. It's because you bet one time, you made money, and you didn't follow the rule of karma. You got to follow the rule of karma. You got to, every single time, not putting it off. That's abundance mind. That's not scarcity mind. Scarcity mind is putting it off. It's the right thing to do. Make sure you send it out to the universe as well. That's so important, my friends, to keep the flow going. You must give to receive, right? But with that said,